Welcome to episode 41 of KinFit. I'm Michael.
I'm Tiffany, and today it is a windy day in the middle of downtown Montreal.
Not just windy, but it looks like it might rain anytime soon.
Yep, so we should get on to fit news.
Yep, or we can just grab a Bixi bike and get the heck out of here afterwards.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So what's going on in fit news this week?
We have a Bixi bike update.
Okay.
So originally, when we first reported this, the city had announced that they would start phase 2 next year. But with the immense popularity of the Bixi bikes, they decided to push it ahead, and now they're going to have phase 2 towards the end of the summer, at around mid-August. And what phase 2 means is that they're going to add another 100 locations and another 2,000 new bikes within the city.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really cool for those who don't have Bixi bikes around their area yet. What the city said is that they're expanding more towards the east and more towards the west ends of the downtown area. So for those who live in the NDG or the Maisonneuve area, you'll be getting Bixi bikes soon.
Wow.
Yeah, and that brings us to the total amount of 400 locations and 5,000 bikes total on the island of Montreal.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so
and I've actually seen a lot of people using them just now.
Yeah, for those of you who don't see behind the camera, but there's people using Bixi bikes right now.
Cool.
Yeah, so definitely, if you don't have a Bixi bike, you'll have one soon.
Good. What else have you got for us?
You ever want to do 100 push-ups?
Maybe.
Or at least 10? I can't get past 20. That's sad to say though. But yeah, well, if you ever wanted to do push-ups, or you want to be better at doing push-ups, or try to do 100 push-ups, there's actually a site that I discovered recently. It's called 100pushups.com. What it is what the person did, he designed a 6-week program, a progressive 6-week program, for you to be able to do 100 push-ups at the end of those 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice little detailed program. I mean, he separates it into weeks and then days, and then how many sets you should do per day, and then how many reps you should do progressively to reach that 100 push-ups by the end of 6 weeks.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he doesn't just have the program, but he also has other little useful information, such as what are push-ups, why should you do push-ups, and he also has a book out, I noticed. The book is called 7 Weeks to 100 Push-Ups.
So you have an extra week if you buy the book?
Yeah, you have an extra week if you buy the book. So I'm guessing it's the same program, but he probably structured it where if you're not able to do 100 within the 6 weeks, he actually gives you an extra week to actually work on it and be able to do 100 push-ups, or at least 100 push-ups in about 7 weeks or so.
The online program is tougher.
Online program is, well, the book might be tougher, or you can say the online program is tougher, depending how you look at it, right? Because the extra week, extra push-ups.
Interesting.
But not only does he have a program for 100 push-ups in 6 weeks, he also has how to do 200 sit-ups in 6 weeks and how to do 200 squats in 6 weeks. So if you want to be able to do all that, I suggest you go check out the site.
So does that mean at the end of the summer you're going to be able to do 100 push-ups, 200 squats, and 200 sit-ups?
Yes, and I challenge Vincent.
I'm going to have to film this.
We shall.
Okay. All right, so on my end, there's been a new study from Newcastle University that talked about boiling carrots before you cut them will actually retain more of the nutritious compounds, about 25% more actually, if you boil them before you cut them, because once you cut them and then boil them, you have more places where the nutrients are going to leach out of. So if you tend to boil your carrots, make sure to not cut them, boil them, and then cut them afterwards.
Yeah, something to try out. Like Bugs Bunny, that's why he's always eating the carrots whole.
Maybe. All right, so that is it for this week's Fit News. So on this week's information, I'm going to continue on part 2 of our tea adventure. Last episode, if you recall, we talked about the different ways of processing the tea. This week we're going to talk about the 4 main types of tea. The 4 main types are white, green, black or red, and oolong. So the difference between the types of tea really is just the time of oxidation. So it varies between all the 4 types. So say for the white tea is actually the least processed of all the teas. In fact, it is not oxidized at all. After the withering part of the tea process, it is fired right away. And in fact, so it has the least amount of caffeine in it and probably the highest amount of antioxidant properties because it's not oxidized at all. So it has a very mild, fresh flavor to it. So as far as the green tea, it is oxidized very little as well. In fact, after it is withered, it is steamed so that none of the properties are lost, but it still maintains a lot of its antioxidant properties. So, and then it's fired, of course. So you have the green tea is slightly more flavored than the white because it's just a touch more processed, but in fact it's still not really oxidized much at all. And then you have the black or red teas, which is basically the same thing. These teas, after it's withered and it's rolled, it's left to oxidize until the leaves turn fully black. So this is why you have a much more different, rich flavor to it. But at the same time, it has the most caffeine of all the teas and probably a little bit less antioxidant properties to it. After that, the black and red teas, we have the oolong tea. The oolong tea is actually a cross between the green and the black tea. So it's partially oxidized. It's not oxidized fully till the leaves have turned black, but they have oxidized slightly, so the color is a little bit deeper. So the outer parts of the leaves are a little bit bruised and they're rolled, and then they're oxidized partially, and then they're fired before they oxidize fully. So you have sort of a in-between flavor as well. It's not quite as strong as a black tea, but it's not quite as fresh and grassy as a green tea. So these are the four main types of teas. You may be asking, what about herbal teas? Where do they fall in these categories? In fact, herbal teas are not really, it's not considered tea really, because they don't come from the plant Camellia sinensis, actually. In fact, herbal teas should be really called tisanes, and tisanes are more of an infusion of different herbs or roots, flowers, and different parts of the plant. So technically, it's not really a tea. However, it does have other health benefits to it, not quite the same as the benefits from the Camellia sinensis plant, though. So hope that little tip helps you out a little bit, and we'll see you next time on Information.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Review on the Run. In the past episode, I talked to you about the Wii Balance Board and its advantages and disadvantages. This week, what I have for you is that an application for the Wii Balance Board, which is the EA Active game. I went out and bought the game, and I must say I was very impressed with how well structured the whole game was. Once you pop in the game and you choose a program, it starts you off with a warm-up, and we know how important that is, and it progressively works into the different exercises, and it ends with a cool down. So it's a very well structured game, and this game is, you don't have to be like a athlete for this game, because there's different levels. You could pick easy, medium, or hard, and you could even pick the duration of the amount of time that you want to work out for. I believe it starts off with 20 minutes, and you can work out for all the way up to an hour. And I did an hour of the game, and I must say that it really seems like spending an hour with a personal trainer. Also, what I liked about the game is that it comes with tools. Once you buy the game and open up the box, it comes with an elastic band and a holster for your nunchuck. So therefore, it provides some more resistance rather than just the controllers itself. Also, let's just say you find the resistance on the elastic that it comes with too easy, you can change it with another elastic band of a higher resistance. So, and it still works with the game. Another thing I liked about the game is that it actually explains to you and shows you how to do the exercises. Before entering any exercise, there's going to be a trainer that appears on the screen, and it explains to you what you're actually doing and points to look out for. I was very impressed with that, because there are some, let's just say a squat, there's a lot of points where everyone makes mistakes. Like, it tells you to be careful with the knees passing over the toes, so I was very impressed with that. However, this game is, again, just like the Wii Balance Board, it's not meant to replace an actual trainer. So, because I did it on purpose to make a few mistakes, and the sensors did not catch it. So, it's a good game to have just to, let's just say you missed your workout that day, and you could just open up the game and work out. But it's not something to actually replace an actual trainer. So also, another disadvantage about the game is that you need a lot of space compared to the Wii Fit game. For example, in tennis, you actually have to lunge off of the Wii Balance Board to the sides and actually do a full swing to hit the ball. I've actually tried hitting the wall myself while playing tennis. So make sure when you play this game you have a lot of space around you. Also, I found that some exercises were the sensors were not as sensitive. Let's just say for the side lunge, I did a perfectly fine side lunge using the holster, and it didn't say I was doing it. So in that area, the sensors could be a bit more sensitive depending on the exercise. Improvements for the games, it does, like, I was already impressed with the warm-up and cool-down. What is missing is the stretching. If they just added a stretching session at the end of the program, it would be a perfect exercise game to have. I would recommend this to anyone since it divides into difficulty into easy, medium, and hard, and the amount of time that you want to work out for. So let's just say you're a beginner and never did exercise before, you could do a brief 20 minutes workout at an easy level, and it's perfectly fine. And even if you are a trainer just like me, you could pick hard and do an hour and you get a great workout. I felt sore the next day, and I was sweating throughout the whole workout. So it's definitely a good game to have, and if you have a Wii balance board, I would really recommend you get this game. And that's it for this week's review on the run.
So this wraps up this week's episode of KinFit.
Please check back our show notes for all the pieces of information we want you to find out about.
And if you have any ideas, suggestions, or questions you want to ask us, just email them to us at info@kinfit.tv.
Big thank you goes out to Vincent this week for his reviews on the run and manning the camera.
Yep, and now we're going to go and check out whatever is about to happen behind us.
Looks like a big party.
Don't know what it is, but we'll check it out. So remember, don't quit.
Stay fit.
And that's it for this week's Fit News. Review on the run. I killed it.
So these are the four main types of tees. You probably also heard of so bad.